Hey guys, Pretzelman945 here. Welcome back to another video. Um, Today I'm gonna be reviewing an anime that I just finished called Paranoia Agent. Although, um, me reviewing an anime, me reviewing this anime is going to be difficult because I don't know if I can find the right word to describe my opinions on it. I don't think ever been more unable to come up with words to describe my experience watching an anime than Paranoia Agent. Um this show was unbelievable. It is somehow like the most brilliant thing I have seen Satoshi Kon do, and it has cemented firmly in my head that he is the greatest anime director of all time, and it is not wrong. So basically, the premise behind this series is that um there is this serial attacker, not killer, just attacker called Shonen, who is like this crazy kid. Supposedly, is a very distinct look. He has this slightly burned up back. He's like a middle school kid. He wears like the golden roller skate. Um, it creates like a very distinct image, and um and so it starts out by like building the mystery around who this shonen gap guy is. And then at the end of well, all the while in these first few episodes, there is absolutely masterful character exploration done. Um and like every single one of the characters that is explored that ends up getting like their face whacked off at the end of the episode. Um every single one of these characters in the individual episodes all have a very different kind of character arc, and as such, even though they are all connected by this character through line of feeling like they want to be saved from their cornered situation. The incredible variety in all of these character stories, and it's not just in these first few episodes. I'm going to talk about some of the ones that happen in later episodes as well. But um, there is such a variety to these types of character stories that are being told, and each one of them is done magnificently well. I think my favorite of the entire show was the case with Harumi, the private tutor slash professor's assistant, who suffers from multiple personality disorder, which is already a character trope that number one, I don't see very much, but two, when I do see it, it is almost always executed brilliantly, and this show was no exception. The idea of like having her other personalities call out to her through the phone was absolutely brilliant. And I could talk about a lot of these different ones. for like why I thought each one of them was brilliant, but I'm not going to do that because I think that would be a bit repetitive. And even though I am spoiling a lot of the parts of this show, I do still think that like watching the whole thing is absolutely worth the experience. And then what's so interesting about like the nature of this show and the way that it sort of transitions is like the first part of it is like these character stories, and we're spending like entire episodes establishing these central characters who have very troubled lives, who feel like they want this character of Stone and Bat to appear and relieve them from their feelings of being cornered in life. And as that happens, like the mystery gradually builds up until something completely unexpected happens where they catch him. Um, and in episode five, no, wait, uh, yes, episode five. Episode five is like this completely unique episode, which I think just goes to show the utter genius of Satoshi Kon's direction. The fact that like all of these different directorial elements and styles are somehow like present in the same show. Um, it's like this crazy sci-fi adventure that like the two detectives are following this kid that they catch that they think is Stone and Matt. They're following him along on this like crazy journey, which just is like the such a perfect representation of a crazy kid's imagination because it's not actually him that did the deed. Even though this kid looks exactly the same, he has a bot that looks exactly the same. It turns out he was only an imposter. Um, and from there, like from episode 7 to the latter half of the show, everything like completely changes because suddenly going back as a concept and as an idea in people's minds slowly and yet also rapidly begins to change with each episode. It's this interesting dilemma of like how in the minds of the characters, it seems like a slow change, but the nature of it is so drastic between episodes that it also feels like a fast change. It is this crazy, like, double layering of a change in the concept of the plot in a way that, like, I have never seen in an anime before. And uh lost my train of thought for a second because I'm tired. Um, so in episode 8, it's this seemingly completely unrelated episode to literally anything that came before it or after it in the entirety of the rest of the show. And again, it just again proves to me Satoshi Kon's directorial brilliance. Um, because like it's this episode that focuses on three completely new characters, um, who are all these like people that just really want to die really badly. It's quite morbid. Um, but yet also morbidly comical in the way that like their efforts of trying to die constantly fail. Um, and like they hear about this idea of shonen bat, um, as if it's like this sort of urban legend thing and not like a tweet thread anymore. Um, which is super interesting compared to like how he was previously viewed before. And then in the very next episode, it's like centered around a group of four women just talking the entire time as they share various stories related to Shonen Bat, which slowly rise in the absurdity levels. And each one of these, by the way, is its own brilliantly done character short story. Um, and every one of them is again so incredibly unique and uh um but like as these stories get more and more insane, it elevates from the previous episode, which that was sort of like an urban legend concept, to it almost elevates to something of like a myth. Um like something even bigger that seems to be like pervasive in the minds of all people at all times. And then it continues to evolve beyond that, into this straight up like insane supernatural force. And um and then there is this absolutely just brilliant exchange. It's probably the most brilliant sequence of the entire show, in my opinion, where like um the main detective's husband, who uh oh man, I am I am like being real bad with for forgetting the character names at the moment. Let me pull up the Mal page here. Uh yeah, Ikari, that's his name. Ikari is like this um Ikari is like the main detective, and his wife is like this sickly woman who has all these kinds of health problems. Uh she talks about like their entire story as shown in Bat is like right there. Literally in the room about to kill her, and then because of the fact that like even though by all rights she should be the most like emotionally cornered character that we've met this entire show, he just absolutely refuses. And not only is it low-key insane aura farming, but at the same time, like what this manages to accomplish, and like the way that it fundamentally like changes again, shown that as a character and a plot concept, is just absurd. Because this is the thing that makes it go into like full on supernatural territory mode, because it like um seems to change and expand at this dangerous pace due to um confronting like a completely unknown variable in um in 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 Mise, this character that just completely refuses to give in and just continues to resist. And this like combination is just fucking insane. Um and every everything about this sequence is just absolutely brilliant, and I think it is the best sequence in the show. Um, and then like the final two episodes are just this seemingly crazy final battle because after episode 7 it seems like the two detectives go missing for a bit. Um Well, except for Ikari, Kenichi Ikari, he kind of like goes up um in episode 11 again, but that's because like he has a lot more character stuff related to him. But like the two of them don't, but like the two detectives, Maniwa and Ikari, both of them don't come back until episode 12 join together where where it seems to kind of take on a bit of the form of the first part of the show in that they are trying to stop this shonen bat, and yet also the nature of it is different because of the fact that they are trying to stop it. um and Ikari has to break free of the fantasyism, which is just like this really crazy thing with a really unique art style in it. There's so many examples of this that I haven't mentioned in this video because it would just be too many to mention. But this is just like one example of like they all look like weirdly overly cutesy drawn stick figures. Um and um and then it's like this crazy epic battle and like the sort of biggest reveal, which I can't remember, I think it happens in episode it's either the end of episode 11 or episode 12, where like the big reveal is that the concept of Marumi, who I haven't mentioned so far, um uh it's a bit complicated to go back into that now, huh? Oh well. But like the concept of Marumi, who was this protector dog for the main character Tsukiko, um, is the same as Shonen Bat because both of them because like Shonen Bat was this concept created out of um not wanting to accept guilt and trauma from Tsukiko's dog named Marimu, the character design is based off of dying when she wasn't paying attention. And this reveal is like the fucking cherry on top of this already beautiful cake that we have made with this show's plot here. Um, because um this plot twist like simultaneously brings everything together because it synchronizes the concept of the way that Shonen Bat evolved as a character and a plot concept with the seemingly ever growing popularity and obsession that people had with Marumi as a um as a, cute little plush icon thing with every episode. And it like connects those two ideas of the plot progression together so well. Um and then like after, it goes away and everything ends, it seems like everything is back to normal, and it like brilliantly mirrors the opening shot of the very first episode. Um, uh, then it just seems to end. Uh, and then like there's that little like preview bit, and to be honest, I probably missed some aspects of this show by not like, you know, I don't normally watch episode previews of next episodes, but I kind of on reflection feel like I may have missed some things by not watching all of those things. But I did watch the one at the end, and it talks about and it ends in like the most brilliant way possible. Like this had such a fantastic ending to pop everything off because it talked about this concept of paranoia and how it might be gone for now, but it never truly really goes away. Um and this this anime is like an absolute masterpiece to me. Um I was completely unprepared for how brilliant I would think this was, and what an insane experience it was watching this show. I was not prepared for that at all. Um if you've not watched Paranoia Agent, um be warned that it might be the most mind fucky anime I have ever seen, but it is completely worth it. Um, so yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.